All right, so this is going to be a really niche video. This is only for the 3D fans out there because I know I've gotten a few requests on it. But we're just going to go really quick on how to take your 3D Blu-rays and then mux it with the 4K audio from your 4K Blu-rays. So we're going to take the Dolby Atmos track from the 4K disc and then mix it onto the 3D Blu-ray. So that way we get the full immersive experience, because typically 3D Blu-rays only have 5.1 DTS mixes. So we're just going to combine it to make the ultimate 3D Blu-ray. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is go over to the top here, go to makemkv.com and download the appropriate version for either Windows or for Mac. For me personally, I am using the Mac version. Once you do that, we're going to go over to makemkvtoolnix.org, which is the ultimate tool for editing and merging MKV files. So you're going to go ahead and download that for either Mac or Windows. Once you get that done, go ahead, open up makemkv. Then we're going to go up here into the top left corner, select source. I'm just going to assume that you've already ripped your movies. If you don't know how to rip your 4K Blu-rays or your Blu-rays, there are tons of tutorials on how to do that on YouTube. Just Google it or just YouTube it, and then it's a pretty simple process. But I'm just going to assume that you've already got your movies backed up. So here we're going to take Kong Skull Island, open up the folder for that. I'm going to select the BDMV. If you already have your movies backed up as MKV already or whatever format you have chosen, choose that specific file. So once the makemkv program opens up your disk, you're going to see a few different options here. This is going to be different for every movie. The first option here is, it shows that we've got 34 chapters. It's 201 megabytes. So that is clearly not going to be the movie file itself. So we're not going to choose that. The next option here shows 12 chapters at 57.3 gigs. So I'm going to uncheck the two small ones, which leaves me this guy here, which is 57 gigs, which is clearly the 4K Blu-ray. So what we're going to do here, keep this checked. We're going to keep the title checked, which is going to keep your chapters, and also we're going to keep the True HD Surround 7.1 English checked as well. So this is going to be the Atmos mix. Everything under it are all the secondary and subtitle options. So what I'm going to do here is right click, unselect all, make sure that we have True HD selected. If you want to keep your other audio mixes as well, you can just click whatever audio mix that you want to keep. But for the purposes here, I'm only going to keep the Dolby Atmos mix. So in total, I've got two files checked off. I've got the movie file, which is here, 57.3 gigs. And then I have the True HD file. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to specify the output folder. So go over here, click on this little folder icon, and then I'm going to select this folder here, which I've already named Kong. So select that. This is where the output file is going to go. Once you do that, click on makemkv. Now, since I've already done this, we can see in this section here that I've already completed this successfully. All right, so once that is successfully completed, we're going to do the same thing and go and select our backup of the 3D Blu-ray. You can see here that I've got Kong Skull Island 3D Blu-ray. We're going to go ahead, select the ISO. So the same thing here, we can see I've got 34 chapters, but this file is only 402 megabytes, so I don't want that. This one is 38.9 gigs, so this looks like it's going to be the one, and then the other ones are 388, and 38.9. So we are just going to unclick these ones, keep this guy here, which is 38.9. We're going to go ahead, unselect all of these other audio options. Make sure you select this video file here. This is MPEG-4 MVC. It says stereo high at L4.1. So this is a stereo image under the video file, which means you have your left and right eyes. So make sure you have that selected. So that is your 3D video. And then go ahead and just select one of these, any one of these audio options. I'm just going to select the smallest file, which is the DTS Surround 5.1 English. And then we're going to do the same thing. Make sure you have your selected output folder. So it's going to run through the whole process, and once it says operation successfully completed, we are going to now go ahead, open up mkvtoolnix. We're going to go all the way down here to the bottom, click Add Source Files. I'm going to go back into that original folder, which was labeled Kong. Select that output file, which is labeled Kong Skull Island T01 MKV. Once you select that, we can see that this is the 4K backup, and you can always tell because it'll say True HD Atmos, which is right here. We're going to unselect the video file. That is typically going to be H.265, so we don't want that video file. We want to keep the True Atmos mix, which is the audio mix, and then we want to unselect the 12 entries, which is the chapters for the 4K Blu-ray. So we just want the audio. Then the next thing that we're going to do, sometimes this is embedded in the audio stream, sometimes it's not. This is going to remove the dialogue normalization gain. So that way the dialogue or the audio is not going to be attenuated anyway. I don't believe it's in many 4K rips or True HD rips, but I just click it anyways. Now, one thing you want to keep your eye on is right here in the upper center part of the screen where it says Kong Skull Island.mka. So it says MKA because we're only keeping the audio. So MK, A for audio. So keep your eye on that. We're going to go ahead now, go click on Add Source, and we're going to select the file that we ripped for the 3D Blu-ray. And as we can see, this went from MKA to MK3D. So that's how you know that this is going to be in 3D once we output it. So coming down here to the bottom, we already have our True HD Atmos mix selected. You can see it says Surround 7.1. And then these are the new additions. These are now in purple. So here's the video file. You can tell that this is 3D because if we go all the way down here into properties, it says 19 by 20. It says 1920 by 1080. The unchecked one says 3840 by 2160. So that's the 4K, and then that is the 3D. So make sure that you've got the 3D video file selected. Make sure you have the Atmos file selected. If you want to keep the original 5.1 DTS mix, you can. I don't need it, so I'm going to unselect that, but I am going to keep the chapters selected here, which is 12 entries. So all in all, we've got the video file, which is 3D, we've got the Atmos file, and then we've got your chapters. Then we're going to go ahead and select Start Multiplexing. Now, once you do that, I've already done this, and we can see here that this says that multiplexing took 32 minutes and 16 seconds. So I suppose if you have a quicker computer than I do, then it might go quicker, but I'm just using a Mac Mini M2, and this file took exactly 32 minutes, 16 seconds. All right, so once that's all done, we're going to go ahead and then see here that this says Kong Skull Island 3D Atmos.mk3d. Now, what you're going to want to do is double click on this. I have VLC installed on my Mac, so click on that. Make sure that it plays, and then you're going to want to make sure that the audio is in sync. Now, for instance, if your audio is not in sync, we're going to go back to mkvtoolnix, select on True HD Atmos. We're going to go to the right side of the screen here, and then where it says delay in milliseconds, we're going to go ahead and select, let's say it's off by a second. You're going to put how many milliseconds in this section here. And once that's done, go ahead and click on Start Multiplexing. So if your delay is off, which is pretty rare, I've never had a well, actually, I've had one issue where the audio was off by 1 second. So I did have to go ahead and add that in here, and then everything was all fine. So if you are having a delay issue, this is the section that you would do that. So guys, let me know if you've ever done this before. Have you had any issues? What is your experience like? I think this is the best way to watch it. If you are a 3D fan, there's no other way to enjoy your 3D movies other than 3D with Dolby Atmos. But leave your thoughts down below and let me know. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.